Welcome back to the Purple Politics Podcast. I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm Rick.
And it's that time of the week when Rick and I sit down to go through the headlines.
In the current media landscape, everything is printed in red or blue. Ben and I try to find the purple area between the lines.
We ask questions, apply logic, and discover what stories were written by the headline heroes.
Just like the news, we're not always right and we don't always agree, but we always look for some sort of common ground.
Let us know what you think. Leave us a comment or send an article you'd like us to discuss over at purplepoliticspodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or at Rick and Ben on Twitter. So, another first. This week, Ben has his first Twitter feud that we're going to have to talk about.
Oh shit.
Hold on a sec.
He's got to get his beer.
Yeah, I need something for this one.
We should invite the guys from Drunk History to come on this show.
I thought about inviting the guy that I had the Twitter feud with for this show.
We should.
I didn't want to talk to this guy. I could already tell that he was one of those that he's just going to keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. And
almost like when a little kid plugs their ears and goes la 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 la.
We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
We like to look at things. We have to look at things from everybody's point of view. And sometimes you have to look at the point of view that you just want to hate.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to hate anybody. I don't care if you're rich or you're poor. All right.
Ben hates me, so don't believe his bullshit.
Yeah, so I hate rich people. Everybody just understood that laugh too.
Yeah.
All right, so this is going to be our first Twitter feud segment, but I saw a post from The Guardian stating that San Francisco residents in quote-unquote the most desirable neighborhoods are paying a lawyer to help them keep a homeless shelter out of a vacant lot in their community.
Them damn homeless people.
Those damn homeless people. San Francisco has a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
But they're getting pushback from this one guy because people are like, oh, I guess people don't like people who make less money than them. No, they based it off of a study in Vancouver. Now, Vancouver, I would argue, is a lot nicer than San Francisco. I don't have any stats on this. I'm just basing it off of my...
Well, let's put it this way. Vancouver's not a shithole.
Right. So, and neither is San Francisco in that area, but that's what they're trying to avoid. So what I did, and this is what started the feud, I put the actual stats. I found the PDF file, and I go, this is why they're doing it. And in the stats, it said that Vancouver found that within a 1-block radius, now if you live in a city, and I used to work in New York every day, 1 block is an entire town.
It's a big area.
So a 1-block area, crime goes up.
Right.
But they recommend a 2 to 4 block added security, which suggests that really it's a 2 to 4 block
right.
Area. 2 to 4 blocks is an entire city. Some people don't go much farther than that.
Right.
You got all your stores, everything.
Especially in New York. You could live your whole life in New York City and not leave 2 to 4 blocks.
Right. And again, I'm basing this off of my views of New York. This is in San Francisco.
Right.
But so they raised $70,000 in a GoFundMe page, and people have gone against them and have already raised $73,000 to hire another lawyer to get the thing put in their neighborhood.
Oh, shit.
The funny thing is all these people that are flipping out are trying to get the shelter put in a neighborhood not theirs. So what I said, because this one guy goes, it's pretty ridiculous that you're going to put up a view based on 1 block. And I go, listen, I'm just pointing out the study that they based it on. I go, if you read the whole study, it talks about 2 to 4 blocks, which he ignored.
Of course, because he didn't read it.
And then I go, but hey, you start a GoFundMe page to build a shelter next to your home.
Yeah.
I will send me an instant message. I will start a GoFundMe page to send the 3,500 unsheltered homeless people in San Francisco to your shelter.
Yeah.
So they can go over there.
Right.
And he comes back with, I'm all about putting shelters in my city. I go, that's fine. But we're talking next to these people's home. And here's the issue.
Yeah, he didn't say next to his home. He just said his city.
And I kept doing these little jabs, but I will admit, So if you go on the Purple Politics Podcast Twitter account, you can find all these tweets. I don't delete anything. I own up to everything I ever say. I was at the gym while I was having this Twitter fight. So those first couple I felt were calm and productive.
Right.
You know, I was in rage mode at the gym. Kind of came out in those things. I had to finally just stop posting. But you can find them all on our Twitter thing. But here's the thing. Like I said in the last episode, this podcast focus is both views. And sometimes it's not the view you want to look at. You want to hate rich people.
Yeah.
But do you want a shelter next to your home? And how many people that are fighting against the shelter actually have a shelter next to their home? And I know I don't live there, but I've worked in plenty of areas near shelters. And I've worked at their peak times. Like 4 a.m. when everybody's just getting in.
Yeah. Try and get into a convenience store. You got to step over.
Right.
They're in the bathroom. They're
there was
sleeping
one
in the
store
halls.
that used to close down between 2 and 4 in the morning because either A, the gangs were going to attack them.
Yeah.
Or B, they were going to get robbed by all the homeless people. True story.
Right.
You know, there's nothing I could do about your views, but everybody needs to look at their views. So now, let's look at their views, because this is where this kid, man, whatever, started playing a lot of assumptions. So,
well, that's the first problem.
He said it's kind of funny that all these people who vote on things to help keep the disenfranchised down are trying to keep a shelter out of their neighborhood. Assumption number one. You're assuming that all these wealthy people are trying to keep homeless people down, and that these people are wealthy for no reason of their own.
It has nothing to do with keeping homeless people down. Listen, I can name some things I don't want next to my house. Okay. I'm going to start with a funeral home. I'm going to start with a graveyard. I'm going to go to a hospital. Then I'm going to go to a 24-hour convenience store. Who the hell wants that next door? You know, a lumber mill, you know, a homeless shelter. I can list some crazy shit that I don't want next to my home. Yeah. So you can't fault somebody because they don't want it near their home.
Right. And it's a home that they purchased before there was one there.
Right now it's going on in Clay. You have some nice homes there in the town, which Clay, you know, Clay's tough if you want to build in Clay. You know, they don't just give everybody free reign. You can build whatever you want. They're tough. All right. That's common knowledge. Well, one of the funeral homes wants to put up a second funeral home. So the houses around there, they come in, they were cutting the woods down. The people that live there were like, what the hell? Why are they cutting all these trees down? One of the neighbors walked over. They said, oh, they're putting a funeral home here.
Yeah.
They're all freaking out.
Baldwinsville, they tried to put a youth home, I believe, in there.
Yeah.
For troubled teens.
Liverpool told Walmart to go pound.
Yeah. So,
you know, so it's not always about keeping somebody down. It's keeping a certain, I don't want to use quality of life. What's the word?
Quality of life?
Yeah, you're just quality of life.
I worked for this. And that's my assumptions. Our assumptions are they want to keep these people down. They're doing things to keep them down. They're also assuming...
Well, that's that guy's assumption. That's not my assumption. I just don't want it next door to my house. I don't mind there being a homeless shelter.
I'm talking everybody on this Twitter war.
Oh, okay.
And they're also assuming that these people did nothing to get to where they are. Now, Ben's Book Corner. We all love Ben's Book Corner. I am reading Michelle Obama's book right now. This lady came from the south side of Chicago before it turned into what it is today.
Right.
But it slowly turned in while she lived there.
Right.
And now... she is the author of either the most purchased book or about to be the most purchased book in the world. So people work to get the wealth that they're in.
Yeah,
and she didn't build her wealth on Barack Obama. She was his fucking mentor.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Right.
And I only know that because I bought the book. It's a good book. Read the book. So.
And I don't read. I'll have Ben just... give me the quickie on it.
Yeah, you'll get the Cliff Notes via Ben.
Absolutely.
So, a San Francisco resident, William Fitzgerald, he made the point that I brought up earlier. They clearly don't like people who don't have the same amount of money in their bank account that they do. They clearly don't like people who look different, who sleep outside at night. You know what? I don't like people sleeping outside at night. I don't like streets covered in needles that if I wear a flip flop, I may get stuck with needles.
Right.
And I know people are saying right now, oh, you're just being ridiculous. No, I watched like 40 different videos there's the one deli guy. He just goes outside every day. He has an Instagram account and he just takes a picture and he hashtags the mayor in it.
Yeah.
It's just another person sleeping outside of his deli. He's trying to run a business.
Yeah.
Do you think people want to go in there while people are begging for food? Now, this is what happens with shelters. Why would people want to go to this shelter? It's in a wealthy neighborhood. They can beg for money.
Yeah.
And get better money.
And here's the thing too. If we had better mental health care, we'd have less homeless people.
100%. And that's another thing. People
Yeah.
are like, well, you don't like people with mental health. And that's the other, there's
Yeah.
a lot of people with mental health.
I got something for you. And if somebody's going to listen to this and say, I have a grind with homeless people, I don't. And I think you know this. Me and my wife have donated tens of thousands of dollars to homeless shelters, things for veterans, homeless veterans. So don't come at me like I've got an issue with homeless people, because I don't.
Now, I like playing the asshole, and sometimes I just am the asshole. And right now, I am the asshole. This isn't me playing. This is me being an asshole. You can call me out all you want. There are two types of homeless people, okay? There are people where circumstances happen to them.
Yeah.
And I would put the percentage at maybe 15%. Therefore, 85% made choices that led them there. And now I get that circumstances may have hit them later on down the line.
Yeah.
But if they didn't make choice 5, 6, and 7 in their life, they wouldn't have hit all those circumstances that just happened to them.
Yeah.
Now, we have this absolute ridiculous belief in society that choices don't have consequences anymore.
Oh, they do.
So we have to cater to everybody, but no. You make
can't.
choices.
Yeah.
So why do I make a choice to make myself wealthy? I sacrifice, like I tell everybody all the time, you want as much money as I do? Work my job. They don't want to work my job. That's why I make the money I do.
Right.
All right. I sacrifice time with my family for up until this recent job, and thank God for this job. I sacrificed my body. I can't feel my fucking finger to this day because of my last job, and I hope you're fucking listening out there. It's your fucking fault. But I made sacrifices. I broke my body. If I'd kept with that last job, I would have had to retire at 55 because I couldn't stand up straight.
Right.
All right. I made sacrifices for the now. People make sacrifices for the later. People are like, everybody knows you shoot heroin, you're most likely going to become addicted.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. And everybody's seen these people on the street. Yet they're still like, oh, fuck, that looks great. Nobody looks at that person shooting fucking needles in their foot and is like, I want to live like that.
Yeah.
But they still make the decision to do it.
And I don't want it right next door.
Exactly. And that's the problem San Francisco has, is they have the tent cities, the needles. They have that one guy. I wish I will add it to our internet page. I'll add it to our webpage, his Instagram account, because he just keeps tagging the mayor in it. And that's exactly what you should do.
But when you think about it, a lot of homeless, there's mental illness, and there's addiction.
Yep.
And then there's people that have fallen on hard times.
Right. And
I
feel bad for those.
And I do too. But the reality is, I think you have people sleeping on the street, shooting up in an alley, if they're drug addicts, they don't have jobs, they're homeless.
Yep.
So how are they getting income? They're going to beg, they're going to steal, probably petty larceny, but still, why would you want that literally right next door? And the guy you were arguing with said, "Oh, I'll start a GoFundMe for my city." Yeah, I'll start a GoFundMe for my city too. All right, but I'll goddamn guarantee you, it ain't gonna be next to your house, and it ain't gonna be next to mine. So until you live in these guys' shoes,
and all these people, that signed up for that GoFundMe, to go against
they
them,
probably don't even live there.
That's my argument. Right
Yeah,
there.
Exactly.
Because they're thinking, you know what? It keeps it out of my neighborhood.
Yeah, goddamn right it does. Yeah,
I'm not afraid to say that.
People have motives.
That's
people
exactly
have motives.
what I'd be saying. But
they're not saints.
So I asked the question: what happens when homeless shelters are built? And in that Vancouver, they found a sharp increase in thefts, but they also found that in a separate analysis of Portland and Seattle, the sanctioned encampments that they have, the 11 that they have, didn't have this effect. Now I'm going to push back on that, and I don't know how true it is because this is just anecdotal from somebody who's related to me, who is a super liberal and won't talk to me because she doesn't like the way I talk. But they moved back from Portland because it was too violent. Like, it was too scary to live there. So, I mean, let's not use Portland as an example. Now, another thing that people refuse to think about is I bought my home. I paid for my home. What happens to my home value if I put a shelter next to me?
It's less.
It's less. Now I have to sell my house. I don't want to live next to that shelter. Now I move out. Now what happens to those stores that were up the street?
Yeah,
they're gone.
They're gone.
They catered to me.
Right.
Those stores are there because they catered to me. Now the wealthy people move out. You're not going to have the diamond store up the street. You're going to have the pawn shop.
Right. You have the pawn shop, the liquor store, and the gun store. Those are the three things that are going to be left.
Yeah, and the welfare home.
Here's what you find in poor neighborhoods. You find multiple liquor stores, multiple gun shops, multiple pawn shops, and a lot of churches.
But so I think we've talked about it on the podcast. I don't remember what episode, but there is a such thing as city migration.
Yeah, absolutely.
And going back to Michelle Obama's book, she even brought it up, but she didn't mean to bring it up.
Right.
When she moved into the South Side, other black people moved into the South Side, and it was completely wrong back then, but it was like black people were moving into the neighborhood, so the white people moved out to the suburbs. But that started the city migration.
Right.
And then since all these homes became vacant or they were just selling to get out of them, people could afford them for less. So it's just slowly.
It's a vicious cycle.
And everybody can argue with me saying I'm being racist right now, but go to the south side of Chicago right now.
Yeah.
Go to her old neighborhood. And she even says it in the book. It's not the neighborhood she grew up in.
Right. Even the one I did is not the same.
You go to Syracuse, you can look and see that it's a beautiful home. It's a shelter.
Yeah.
Because they moved out of town.
Right.
So it's a hard fact, but it's a true fact.
And it's not going to make sense to a 20-year-old. And it's not going to make sense to somebody who hasn't lived in a city. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's just something you notice over the year. Maybe if, one of your parents grew up in the north side of Syracuse. The north side today isn't what the north side was 30 years ago. Liverpool isn't. So they rotate around the city and then they spread out.
Well,
and I shouldn't say they. People spread out.
You could say they, but the problem is
when I say they, people attach it to race. And that's not the thing.
What it is.
Because some people assume that it's an African American issue, and it's not. That's why you have places like Chinatown, Little Italy, the Irish side of the neighborhood. Everyone's got them.
So when you think of trailer trash, what are you picturing right now?
I'm going to be honest with you, some white redneck. Yeah.
Wife beater shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Black people live in trailers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just we associate terms. When you say they, people automatically assume you're a racist. That's the problem.
Well, that's why I wanted to correct it, because my they isn't,
But that's why I jumped in it and gave you permission to say they.
Yeah.
Because you want to call me a fucking racist, go right ahead.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Right. Right. And some dick's gonna twist my words.
That's their job.
So
that's their job.
And then they got to have their rage, and then they got to be right, and it's not even the point.
Hopefully somebody twists their dick right off.
Yeah. Painful. Yikes.
I just pictured a fucking.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. I can't do the video on it. So. All right. So I'm just gonna call this article "What the Fuck at a Glance." All right. So at first I looked at this article and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" So a North Carolina man is facing criminal charges of pet endangerment. Abandoning a pet.
Yeah.
So Michael Ray Hinson, he's a 53-year-old guy. He's charged a multiple misdemeanor counts of cruelty to animals for allegedly abandoning his pet fish after he was evicted from his home.
Yeah.
So I first looked at that and was like, it's a fucking fish. But then I thought about all those people that abandon their dogs in their house, and I just want to go fucking shoot them in their face.
Yeah, right.
So then it made me think about, why do we value animal lives different? Now,
because, all right, now I'm going to say it. Now I'm a sexist, but dog is supposed to be man's best friend. right?
Well, right. And if you go overseas, you see those videos of people eating dogs, you're freaked out. Now,
yeah, you're appalled.
a little pushback. They don't humanely kill the dogs.
Right.
They beat them. And I remember watching a Faces of Death, which do not watch Faces of Death if you're anything like me.
Yeah, you're not going to want to eat monkey brain, that's for sure.
That's the one I was going to talk about. They locked that little bastard's head in a thing and beat him up.
Yeah, with like a ball peen hammer.
That bothered me more than the
guy flying through the windshield on the Autobahn and being just stretched out on the road.
No, I'm thinking of the one in the Saudi Arabias where they beheaded the man.
I think the monkey would have gladly taken a beheading over it being bashed repeatedly.
Because if you tried, you could justify everybody else's death. The electric chair, the Saudi Arabia's beheading somebody, but that monkey, they just put him in, and his head just spun. He just kept spinning around.
Yeah,
I want to cry right now just talking about it.
Yeah.
So I had to push back on myself because it's not a what the fuck moment. That is your fish. You paid $40, and he did. I read the article. He paid $40 for this fish. And then he left it there. And then the fish was eating the cockroaches that accidentally landed in the water. That was the only reason it was still alive.
Wow.
I do have to ask why it took so long for anybody to go into the apartment after they evicted him.
Yeah.
That's another story.
Well, it's got cockroaches, so he probably wasn't paying his rent. That would be my stance.
Right.
But I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if it's a fish, dog, cat. Everybody, you have fish lovers, you have cat people, you have dog people.
Yeah.
You have all kinds of pet owners.
I'll take a second where I was going to interrupt you a little bit earlier. I am not anti-meat. I ate fucking tuna fish earlier before I come in here. I'm not.
We're talking about a poor fish that's being neglected, and you had tuna fish. That's fantastic.
Exactly. Well, I think that's why it came to my head.
Yeah,
but it was delicious too. It was that Thai flavored one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Pouches, I love them.
Yeah,
but so I'm not against. I mean, obviously, we evolved from eating animals. I'm not against food.
Yeah,
but eat the fish if you're just gonna fucking leave it. I don't care if it doesn't taste good, or take it with you.
I would, yeah, but then, he looks like Steve Martin in that movie where he's walking down the road, where he's got a chair or a remote, and his dog's following him or whatever, and the dog don't want to go with him. The jerk.
The jerk.
Yeah, you remember?
Yep.
I mean, the guy's getting chucked out. So now he's homeless, right? He's a homeless guy.
Yeah.
No shelter in his town.
That's right.
If he was homeless and there was a shelter next door, he could have just brought his fish and went next door and said, fuck it,
Yeah.
But, this is a little excessive. I'm going to say, it's excessive. All right. And I'm not a fish hater. Okay. I actually like fish, but we don't know. He could have took a piece of bread or a couple pieces of bread and threw it in the fish tank. We don't know how long.
But do the same thing I did. Say he filled the dog bowl up. You would hate him.
Well, where does it? Yeah,
you see the pictures.
Well,
of
that's
the dog
different though.
To
Yeah, but that's different. They can take those dogs to a shelter. There's not a shelter for fish, is there? Have you ever gone to like the ASPCA? We keep our cats here, our dogs here, and oh, by the way, we got a big fish tank back here. So why don't you come back and check these out?
All right, so
it's dogs and cats.
It was just exactly my point. We value life differently. When we should, like, I killed a flea.
Damn
today.
Those shelters that only take in cats and dogs.
But what I'm saying is,
we should boycott them. We should go picket. We'll see if the people are still picketing about the homeless shelter. We can get them over to the ASPCA and have them picket about the fish. Them not taking fish.
So
the next cause we can be over angry about.
Before we started recording today, we were talking about religion.
We were? Oh, yeah, we were.
We were. I got some audio of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw some in.
Yeah.
Here. But in my view of
Wait,
life,
you didn't record me saying
your mom's
churches
hear
for
all
weak
of it.
people, right?
Oh, I got it all.
Did you record
I got
that?
some stuff on you, bud.
Oh, man. Sorry, Mom.
In my universal view, we have conscience.
Yeah.
But my life is no more important, except for to me, than any other life in this world. And I get it. I swat flies because my wife hates flies in the house. And the only reason I swat flies is because my wife hates flies in the house. Otherwise, I'd figure out another way to get them out.
Try closing your goddamn door.
I will pick up spiders and take them outside. I refuse to kill them. I was just surprised by I did the same thing as you. Well, what the fuck? It's just a fish.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it and I was like, even if he had fed the dog and then we get pictures later of the dog starving to death, that would affect me more than seeing this fish die. And I guess the fish had like a disease where a worm was crawling out of its head.
Oh, disgusting.
I mean, I just like the fact that this article made me think for a second.
Take it to the New York City ASPCA. And if, for those of you that don't know what that is, it's the toilet. You drop the fish in the toilet and you hit the switch and it goes right down.
I've done that. And,
Yeah.
I've had to put a cat to sleep because he was dying. And I get it. I just like that this article actually made me think about who I was as a person
Yeah.
and as a pet owner. Not that I really think that this guy should go to jail for not being it. Because what is he going to do with a fish? He's homeless.
3 hots and a cot in jail. He's homeless. It may not be such a bad deal for him.
And with the worm crawling out of its head, I probably wouldn't have eaten it either.
Yeah, exactly.
I will go back to my Thai tuna fish.
Yeah. Oh, disgusting.
Fucking delicious.
You know, maybe he had the worm coming out of his head to catch the bigger fish, would eat him and put him out of his misery.
I love that little thing. I think they got it in Finding Nemo with a
Yeah.
little light on the end.
Yeah, where he's got the little light on the end and then there's all them teeth.
Man, it's Instagram day or something, but there's an Instagram guy I follow. He just posts like the craziest fish from the bottom of the sea that he catches out in Russia.
Oh, really?
They're scary as shit.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
doubt
if
it.
you don't have nightmares now,
Yeah, you will.
you will.
Nice.
All right. So, new segment. It's all new segments today. Ben called it. So, back when we did Kavanaugh, and I'm no way comparing what Kavanaugh allegedly did to what Biden
Somebody will
actually
rage.
did.
Somebody will
Actually
rage on you. They'll be like, yes, that's exactly what you meant.
asshole. So, Biden's been getting called out for being a little touchy-feely. Now, you can watch the videos. We've all seen the videos. It is creepy Uncle Biden. Honestly. You know, there's that one little girl that's trying to pull away.
Uncle Touchy.
Uncle Touchy. Amy Laposa said that Biden was trying to rub noses with her. Lucy Flores.
Was it Lucy Flores? Oh, it was Lucy Flores I saw. She was on, it might have been CNN or one of them shows or like a round table show.
Yeah.
And she said, the guy interviewing her said, you know, you're working on Beto's campaign. She's like, yes. And, you know, last time you were with Bernie Sanders, she's like, yeah. And he's like, you know, so you know, what are you insinuating? You know, she said, well, I'm insinuating it's inappropriate behavior. So he said, well, you know, did you feel like you were sexually assaulted? She said, no, I just felt like he was invading my space. And he said, so are you bringing this up because you're working at Beto O'Rourke's campaign? She said, well, yes, I am.
Right.
So to me, it just struck me as the whole fucking thing's political.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And by me saying Ben called it,
Yeah.
that is what I'm talking about. Because
Yeah.
when the Kavanaugh hearing was going on,
Oh, yeah.
I said, if we allow this to happen,
yeah.
all right, and I get it. Everybody was like, I believe her. Well, her story was a little shady. And even you were pushing back on me. Like,
Yeah, I was.
if we
Yeah,
don't
I was.
investigate it.
You got to investigate it.
But I called out the timing.
Yeah.
And I said, well, now whenever you don't want somebody to run,
That.
all
Oh,
you're
yeah.
gonna
It's in
do-
our episode. We put this in an episode.
I even accused
Yeah.
an infinite amount of men
Yeah.
of touching my pee-pee
Yeah.
as a point.
Right.
I don't know who's running yet,
Right.
but they groped me as a child.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
And this is what you're going to have.
And this is what's happened.
Yeah.
Now, Lucy Flores, she said that he kissed her. Now, by all accounts, this is just, and I don't even want to go so far as to say creepy Uncle Touchy.
Wait,
Because you go to
Flores is the one he just touched her hair.
No, he
and
kissed,
said, oh, it smells good or something.
he kissed the back of her head.
Oh.
She claims that he kissed the back of her head.
Right.
And the lady who he quote unquote rubbed noses with her, he says that
It was an Eskimo kiss.
well, she says it was an Eskimo
Seriously.
kiss.
Yeah, somebody called it an Eskimo
She
kiss.
called it an Eskimo kiss, but
Damn Eskimos screwing everything
I mean,
up
he
in the
grabbed her and
political
he's like talking to her. Let's take a second and
All right.
listen to what. So he had an apology video where he says he's going to try to be better, and I'm not going to get into his apology.
I don't think he apologized. I just think
he said times are changing.
Yeah, and I can
will
respect
be better.
that. I will be better.
Right, but before he got to that part, he tried to explain why he was so quote unquote touchy feely. This is what he had to say.
But today I want to talk about gestures of support and encouragement that I've made to women and some men that have made them uncomfortable. And I always try to be, in my career, I've always tried to make a human connection. That's my responsibility, I think. I shake hands, I hug people, I grab men and women by the shoulders and say, you can do this. And
so I can see, he's trying to make a human connection. He starts out light. I shake hands, but then he goes, I grab him by the shoulder and say, you can do this. We've all done that. Now, in the heat of the moment, people like hug and they cheek to cheek. Who's to say that he wasn't just in like the heat of the moment? He grabbed her and he's like, yeah, this is great. And he's just talking to her. But while he's talking to her, they're like super close. I'm going to admit it right now. I have touched a woman I don't know's butt full hand on by accident. I smacked her ass and she understood the situation and it was okay. And I'm going to explain it right here. We were just like I'm doing right now. We need to get this on video so people can see how I like wave my hands around. I'm at a restaurant. I got my wife and kids there and I'm like, yeah, over there. And I smack and I hit the waitress right on her butt. And I looked right at her. I'm like, oh my God, I did not mean to touch you. And she's like, I saw exactly what was going on. I understand what happened. It was good.
Yeah.
You know?
Until you run for political office.
And then
he was in my restaurant and smacked me in the ass.
Exactly. But, I mean, so I'm not saying that what he did is okay or not okay. I'm definitely saying what he did is nowhere near what Kavanaugh is accused of doing.
Right.
But what I'm saying is there's 4,000 fucking people running for Democrat office, for president. Now, number one, that says a lot about the Democratic Party.
How far stretched out it is.
Jesus
for
Christ.
sure.
And they're all got different ideas. Some of them have the same ideas. But
I think everything should be free. Rich people should pay for it, and we should all get mansions.
Yeah.
And you don't have to work. We're going to...
Free healthcare.
Free healthcare. Free healthcare.
So, but I do like that he did come out and say, listen, times have changed, and times have changed.
Absolutely.
So, for everybody to like go back 20 years, times have fucking changed. And,
yeah.
And, it wasn't okay back then? Yes, if some of this shit was. In 20 years, I'm not going to be allowed to shake a person's hand.
Yeah.
You know?
What was that movie with where they're in the future and the cop there, Sylvester Stallone?
Are we talking about the one with Wesley Snipes?
Yeah.
And then every song is a...
Be well. Every song's a food jingle.
Food jingle.
Yeah, remember? Oh, we don't have human contact
Demolition
anymore.
Man?
Demolition Man, yeah.
We
They
watched
have simulated sex. They put the things on over their eyes, but they don't actually exchange bodily fluids or touch each other, and they don't shake hands. They say be well and make a weird hand motion. It's probably where we're headed.
You know what? You just ended this by telling everybody how stupid the movies are that you and I watch. All right, I'm your host, Ben.
I'm Rick.
Check us out again next week. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Remember to subscribe to the Purple Politics Podcast to keep up to date with all of the headline heroes. Did we get something wrong? Find us at Rick and Ben on Twitter or Purple Politics Podcast on social media. Our complete show notes with links to the articles and videos discussed can be found at purplepoliticspodcast.com. Music in this episode was written and performed by Jahzzar and is titled Magic Mountain. Editing of this episode was done by myself, bfranke, and all research was done by myself and Rick Eldred. Thanks for listening.